Have you ever just stopped and looked around, really looked, and wondered what everything is actually made of? Well, there's this hidden material, this kind of foundational ingredient that's in pretty much everything you see and touch, from your breakfast spoon to the skyscrapers that define our cities. Today, we're going to pull back that curtain and talk about this invisible backbone of our world.
Okay, so let's jump right in with a bit of a riddle. Think about a huge, towering skyscraper, a shiny brass trumpet, and a cutting-edge spaceship. I mean, they couldn't be more different, right? But they all share one fundamental secret. Any ideas what it is?
You guessed it, the answer is alloys. This is the material science that makes all these incredible feats of engineering even possible. So in this explainer, we're going to break down what alloys are and why they are so absolutely crucial to our modern lives.
All right, first things first, what in the world is an alloy? Let's get into the art of the mix.
So, an alloy is basically a mixture of at least two elements, and one of them has to be a metal. But here's the key part, the thing you have to remember. The final material you get has totally different and usually way better properties than the original ingredients. It's not just a simple blend, it's a total transformation.
You know, the best way to think about it is like baking a cake. You take your individual ingredients, flour, sugar, eggs, and you mix them all together. What you get at the end isn't just a warm pile of flour and sugar, right? No, you get a cake, something completely new and delicious. That is exactly what's happening when we make an alloy.
And that brings us to the big question. Why? Why bother going through all the trouble of mixing elements together? Well, the goal is pretty straightforward, to engineer materials that are stronger, better, and just perfectly designed for whatever job we need them to do. And this right here is the perfect example of that transformation. If you take pure iron on its own, it's actually kind of soft, and as we all know, it rusts like crazy. But add just a tiny bit of carbon, we're talking sometimes less than 2%, and bam, you create steel. And suddenly, this new material is durable, incredibly strong, and it resists corrosion. It is a complete game changer, all from one simple mix. So really, we can boil the whole purpose down to three main goals. First, you want to improve strength and durability, just like we saw with steel. Second, you want it to resist corrosion, stop it from rusting away. And third, and this is where the real magic happens, is to customize its properties. Engineers can tweak the recipe to create the perfect material for a specific job, whether that's something lightweight for a jet engine, or superconductive for electronics, or even something biocompatible for a medical implant.
Okay, now for the fun part. Let's meet a few of the most famous and important alloys out there. The real classics, the ones in the Alloy Hall of Fame.
So we've already talked about steel, right? That iron and carbon workhorse that literally forms the skeleton of modern construction. But how about brass? It's this beautiful blend of copper and zinc, and its unique acoustic properties. That's why it's so prized for musical instruments, what gives a trumpet that brilliant sound. And then there's bronze, a mix of copper and tin that is so important it literally named an entire age of human history. Its ability to resist salt water also made it absolutely essential for things like early ship fittings.
And that quote really nails it. These materials are totally the unseen workhorses of our world. We almost never think about them, but their engineered properties are doing all the heavy lifting in pretty much every part of our lives, from the totally mundane to the truly magnificent.
So let's zoom out a little bit and just see how widespread their influence really is. Seriously, from your own kitchen all the way up into outer space.
The applications are, well, they're pretty much endless. In aerospace, we're talking about special aluminum alloys that make a plane's body both incredibly strong and light enough to actually fly. In construction, it's the steel rebar that gives concrete its strength. And in your day-to-day life, it's the stainless steel in your fork that doesn't rust, and the gold alloy in a wedding ring that's durable enough to last a lifetime.
And when you look at a chart like this, you really get a sense of the massive industrial scale we're talking about. Construction is the undisputed king here, taking up a huge 40% slice of all alloy use. Consumer goods right behind it at 30%. But what's really cool is that critical 15% for aerospace, because that's where the most advanced, high-performance alloys are being used. It just goes to show you, alloys aren't just common. They are the economic and technological foundation of our biggest industries.
So, let's bring this all home. Let's talk about this unseen foundation and why all of this really truly matters.
When it comes right down to it, alloys are so much more than just mixtures of stuff. They are a testament to human ingenuity. They represent our ability to look at the basic building blocks of the universe and say, you know what, we can make this better.
We can literally redesign them to build a stronger and more capable world.
We've seen how alloys of iron, copper, and aluminum built the world that we live in today. And that leaves us with one final, fascinating thought. As scientists develop new, even more advanced materials, what kind of world will the next great alloy build?